Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the AEG show. This is your host, Goose, this week, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in once again. With me this week, I have the one and only Colt.
Hi, that's me. I wasn't expecting to go first. Yeah, and, against Goose's good wishes, Dalton has reinstated me on a one-day contract. It's like a retirement deal. I get to come back for one day, and then I ride off into the sunset again. Hopefully I don't get drug tested like Steven Jackson did.
And then he'll come back. And we
Yeah.
also have the amazing, the handsome, the stumbling, the bumbling Marlon.
Well, hope everybody's been doing good this past weekend. I have not been doing good because Xfinity sucks. And I'm not being able to do what I love the most for this podcast, which is to play video games and share that knowledge to you people because Xfinity fucking sucks. So, yeah.
We've got a great show. We've got a great show for you guys this week. It's going to be a little bit on the short side, but we've got quite a bit to talk about. We're going to go into news. No, it's not. It's not short and sweet. Jeff has been canceled. We've canceled him. But hopefully we're going to have quite a bit to talk about. We're going to go into news, and then we're going to go into our topic of the week. So to kick it off, one of my favorite gaming franchises as of 2015, when I first got my hands on them, just announced a slew of hardware announcements and accessories, and that's the Gears of War franchise. Gears 5 coming out September 10th and September 6th for Ultimate Edition buyers and Game Pass subscribers. And they announced an amazingly looking Xbox One X limited edition console.
Called it.
You did call it. You did call it, and it's a shame that you didn't get the points for it. Designed by the Coalition and the team over at Xbox Industrial Design. It's available for pre-order right now. It basically takes the Skull Omen from Gears and puts it right on top of the Xbox One X, and it looks like it's submerged under ice. It also includes a Kate Diaz controller, which also will be available for sale separately. Additionally, there's also a Xbox Pro charging stand that matches that controller. They've got quite a bit of goodies that are coming out for the game. They're also teaming up with Razer, and they've got a pair of headset coming out. Additionally, they also have a mouse and keyboard. And last but not least, they also have a Gears 5 Seagate 2 terabyte hard drive. So they've got quite a bit of goodies coming out before or around launch. And for those of us Xbox fans, is anyone else as hyped for Gears 5 as I am, or am I just the lone Gears fan in this group right now?
I'm alone. I've played very little Gears, admittedly, an Xbox guy, but the ones I have played, I've enjoyed. So, more or less, I just love special edition consoles. So even not being a Gears guy, it's such a hype-looking console.
Oh my god!
They're going all in with all the side accessories and merch that they're putting now. So they are 1,000,000% committed on a late generation game here.
Did they say that they were going to add a mouse pad along with that? I'm pretty sure that was not the case. I'm pretty sure they should have done something like that.
Yeah, they're gonna have. You're correct. They're gonna have a mouse pad as well.
Here's the thing for me. I'm a lover of special edition consoles for a very different reason than Jeff is. Okay. My reason for it is that by releasing these special edition consoles, it shows that the true fans of the gamer of the franchises, whether it's Uncharted, whether it's Destiny, whether it's Gears 5, Forza Horizon, it gives those fans something that they can enjoy while also playing the game. You can just look at it like, wow, that's mine. I can enjoy that. little things like that shows appreciation for not just the gamers but also the fans who keep put money back into their franchises and stuff like that. Now, having said that, kind of the reason why I fucking hate special edition consoles because I can't have them all and I don't have the money for it. So let me ask you this: do you think they're gonna come out with a special edition Elite 2 controller based on Gears of 5?
I'll spearhead this one. I would certainly hope so. I mean, they did it when the first Elite controller came out. When Gears 4 came out, they had a special edition, a limited edition Elite Gears 4 controller. I've pre-ordered the Series 2 Elite controller. I'm definitely going to get it on day one. But I would hope that if they are going to announce something Gears 5 related for the Elite Series 2, they do it well before I get charged and they ship my pre-order, because I would be so upset if that happens. Like, I mean, I guess I could return it within a certain window, but yeah, I wish they just announce it right away so I can pre-order it, because that's something that I would want. I really want that Gears 5 Xbox One X, but I can't. I just, not to dump on Jeff here, but I use the word internal logic, because sometimes you just need to use your smarts. But I can't spend the $500 on this console when I already have the same console that works just fine. Additionally, I'll be honest, I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite, because if I had the regular black Xbox One X, I probably would have sold it and then used the difference to get this. But I have a Project Scorpio edition, and I'm not getting rid of my Project Scorpio edition. I love the way that console looks. I have a limited edition console myself.
So let me ask you this, okay? It is a perfect world where you can have your consoles custom made with the logos that you want by the artists that you want. Okay, not just some
an AEG PS4 made by Marlon.
No, not gonna happen. I already have one of those sitting in there in one of the closets, ready for Christmas. I'll say that. But no, it's the thing for me is that would you want that Xbox One Scorpio being custom made to have your favorite franchises on them, or do you prefer that to be just the regular Xbox Scorpio because that's what makes it special?
I'll be honest, like, I'm a boring individual. Like, I'm the type of guy who'd get a car, not necessarily stock, but the color would be stock. It'd be black or white. It's just something normal. I'm not a big fan of custom consoles. I'm not a big fan of custom everything. Of custom anything. I usually just like it the way I like, in specifically consoles. I just like the way they look from the get. I like white consoles. I'm a big fan of white consoles. You're
a basic bitch, basically.
basically, yes. I am very basic when it comes to my consoles. But the reason that I like this one is because I'm a big fan of the Gears 5 of Gears franchise. So this one would speak to me more than any other custom console, and I think it's par for the course for Microsoft. Microsoft usually does this where it's like it's big heavy hitters. It did it for Halo, it did it for Gears 4, and now it's doing it for Gears 5. And I mean, it's done like real custom made consoles where like they'll have like 4 or 5 like extremely rare, very limited. But yeah, no, I really want this one, but I won't be able to get it. And just talking, moving over from the accessories, I just love Gears. Like, I was talking to Marlon before we started recording, and I was telling him that I'm Gears ready. Like, I played through 4. I don't think I've said it before on the show, but I've alluded to it. I pre-ordered the Gears 5 replica, the 1-to-1 Lancer. Oh. And I thought that I was going to cancel that pre-order, but I'm not going to cancel that pre-order. I'm going to get that weapon. I'm going to put it up on my wall.
That's kind of cool.
I read the prequel, the sequel book to Gears 4 and the prequel to Gears 5, Ascendance, and I like that. I just finished reading this morning Asphalt Fields, which was like the prequel to Gears 1 and the sequel to Gears 2 at the same time. So yeah, no, I'm like Gears crazy right now. I can't wait for September 6th. Me and my buddy Justin, we've already decided that we're gonna take Friday off because the game goes live at 12 a.m. my time, 12 midnight my time, and 9 p.m. his time over on the West Coast. So I'm like, dude, are we taking off? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, you gotta let me know because I gotta ask for that day off at work. I gotta put my paperwork in. And he's like, yeah, no, for sure, we're taking off. I'm like, all right. So come September 6th at midnight my time, we're gonna be launching Gears 5, and hopefully everything works well, and we're gonna be fucking killing and stomping some fucking grubs.
You know something that since you were talking about the actual Lancer replica that you're gonna buy, I'm looking at it, and it's an assault rifle, sort of, maybe, but the thing that propels this from just a regular weapon to a kick-ass weapon, in my opinion, is the fact that it has a chainsaw on it. Yep. Now, I'm surprised that nobody has come out and made a real-life functioning replica of this thing.
I'm sure if you look on YouTube long enough.
Because, I mean, think about it. In theory, it should be easy to make. It is just literally you're combining a chainsaw with, a rifle. Now, if
you're that or Adam Savage will do it on Savage builds when the game
comes my out. God, I would love that. Would happen. So
awesome.
Let me ask you this though: you have unlimited money, you have unlimited budget. Would you get some of the weapons from Gears 5 brought up to real life and make them functional? If you could,
I want a long shot. I want an M-bar. I would like a retro lancer. I want a bolt talk. I want a boom shot. You want me to keep going?
Yeah, you're gonna. Yeah. Okay. Hey man, you never know. Maybe they have an Area 51. Maybe you go there and raid it.
Yeah.
That's freaking.
Well, to curtail back into topic here, as much as you can call a cash grab these special edition consoles that come out at the late end of a lifespan, I do like them. I've been thinking about going up to an X for a while, but I realize I have no reason to until the next gen comes out, and then I'll worry about getting a new console. But I have done this with older consoles, like my PS4. I waited for a while, and I got the White Destiny one when that came out. I waited till like the very end of Wii almost until I got my Wii, and I got the 25th anniversary Mario one that came out in red with red Joy-Cons.
Nice.
Joy-Cons. Wiimotes. Sorry. Using current verbiage. So it's as much as it is a cash grab, like they do put out cool stuff for people that either waited or couldn't afford it at the time or blah, blah, blah. And usually they are significantly cheaper than, well...
I mean, I think
some cases.
I'm looking at you, Uncharted 4.
Launch price.
I'm looking at you, Uncharted 4.
The Gears 5 Xbox One X bundle, I think it's a solid bundle for what you get. Like, not only do you get an Xbox One X that's 1 terabyte, that's it's a limited edition console with a Gears 5 theme. Not only do you get the controller, not only do you get a vertical stand, which is something that the regular Xbox One X's don't include, which my Scorpio did include, by the way. You get Gears 5 Ultimate Edition, obviously, and you get all of the Gears games. You get Gears 1 Ultimate Edition, you get Gears 2 and 3 and 4. Oddly enough, and sadly enough, they left out the redheaded stepchild in Gears 4 and Gears Judgment, which I actually like. It's not really a bad game. So just a real quick tangent in terms of buying consoles late. Like Dan mentioned, hey, I'm thinking about getting an Xbox One X, but I'm just waiting to see what next gen brings. Like, will it be worth it for me to get an X now, or will it be worth it maybe to get an X later at a cheaper price point? It's all speculation at this point. But I am, based on what Microsoft has said, and again, just quick side tangent, based on what Microsoft has said about backwards and forward compatibility, and I said it on the show before, and I told Jeff, I'm like, depending on how powerful this new next-gen Xbox is, I paid $500 for my Xbox One X less than 3 years ago. I got it back in 2017 on launch day. It's not even 2 years old yet. And I'm like, man, am I really gonna like shell out $500+ again for a next gen Xbox?
Right.
So I'm like, I might as well. I think I may sit on this current Xbox One X for like a year, maybe a year and a half, and get what I would say is my money's worth out my money's worth out of it, um, before upgrading. But yeah, that was just a side tangent that Dan sort of.
It makes sense. The thing for me though is that the thing that I enjoy about collector's edition consoles or limited edition consoles at this point is that they are so pretty to look at and they are just really well done in the artistic sense of the word. At least most of them. But the one thing that really pisses me off is when I see people that bought that Destiny White edition for the PS4, and then they go out for eBay or Amazon and they buy those skin stickers that you put on top of the console.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, my brother put what's the word I'm looking for? The Nightmare Before Christmas on top of the white PS4. I'm going. So why do you bought the white edition PS4 so you can put a black skin on top of it?
Yeah.
And I go, and I get it. He wants to have it like his own special version of it, but I'm like, the whole point of it being white was for you to enjoy it being white, not cover it in black.
Plus, like in 10 years, I'm just gonna really want it because, like, my thing right now that I'm trying to find is the black Sega Sports edition of the Dreamcast. That's my current console I'm on the hunt for.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
How much does it usually go for on the open market?
Yeah, over 100. I mean, it's not like they're ridiculously priced, but just trying to find one justifiable price. Because am I going to play my Dreamcast that much? Not really, but I mean, I still want it.
Most go for 100.
My Ice Blue N64, which I love. Yeah, so pretty par for the course. So
and then
it's not like it's like I'm blowing my entire load to get one, but
as a collector, I figured it's something that you'd want to have. So that that's a cool thing to chase, though.
Speaking of collections, Gustavo has been collecting a lot of books lately about Gears of War, I should say.
Gears of 5.
Gears of 5.
It's the super ultra rare game along with Fire Emblem Treehouse.
Gears of 5.
That'll be beautiful.
I can't see that game anymore without, like, it is ingrained in my brain that that's what it's actually called now. I see commercials and I'm like, oh look, tree houses.
Have you been playing Fire Emblem?
No, I've been playing Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle because it finally went down to $20 at GameStop for their summer sale. That's a game I've been wanting to play for like the past year and a half, but it was always full retail and I couldn't justify it.
Yeah, it was on sale.
Damn you,
It's been on sale
Nintendo.
a couple times on. Yeah, it's been on sale a couple times on Best Buy. I don't know if you're. I don't know if you have a retro gamer.
Dalton always tells me to use his.
Yeah. I mean, if you buy a lot of games like we do, then it's savings, dude. You save quite a bit of money. But going back to what Marlon said in terms of reading these Gears books, I read Ascendance, and I want to stick to that. I don't want to talk too much about Asphalt Field. I'll talk a little bit about Ascendance and my experience with it. It was a quick read. I enjoyed it. I don't feel like it moved the needle much in terms of character development for any of the characters. The current ones in terms of Kate, JD, Dell. In one of the first trailers for Gears 5, we see that JD now has a scar. We see that he has like a buzz cut as opposed to, the blonde hair that he was sporting in Gears 4. We see that there's something wrong with his arm. We don't know what it is. To me it looks like a prosthetic arm. It may or may not be. This is all speculation. Basically, JD's been through some shit, right? And although they certainly go through some shit in Gears of War Ascendance. They don't explain why he has a scar on his face. They don't to start off Gears 5. They don't explain. There's nothing about his arm at all. So I found that a little odd because I thought that was something that they were gonna talk about or delve into the book. They didn't do that at all. I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy the book. I enjoyed it, just without spoiling anything. After Gears 4, basically the Locust is back. But no one knows the Locust is back because it although in the game it was crazy and fun and you were just killing all these drones. It was a contained event. It happened over the course of a night. First Minister Jin brings back both the folks who took part of that event. Sorry, guys, who took part of that event, and sorry, letting my dog out my room. So sorry, little guy. So it's a contained event. And Gears 4 basically starts off with First Minister Jin wants to find out what's going on. She sends out DBs, which are the robots that Damon Baird created to basically restore what was left of humanity, and that doesn't go well. She sends them out to Tolan Dam, which is where the Swarm first appeared in Gears 4, and she wants to find out if there are more Swarm/Locust sightings around burial grounds. So just real quick, for the listeners out there, after the Locust War, they didn't know what to do with the Locusts. They're like, we're not going to burn them. We basically have to bury them underground. And all around the planet Sarah, they started creating these burial sites deep within Sarah's crust, and they just buried them there. And we don't know whether they died or not. Now we know they didn't. They basically hardened into like these crystallized things. And First Minister Jin wants to find out if there's any other Swarm/Locust activity around burial sites. So she sends Dell and JD to one burial site. Guess what? There's a lot of fucking Locust activity. And then Kate leaves New Etheria, which is like the city, the headquarters. She leaves on her own, and Marcus helps her out because she has to find out what happened to her village and what happened to her people. And that's basically how the story starts. But it was more of a sequel to 4 than like a prequel to 5, if that makes sense. Because it takes place like a week or 2 weeks after 4. Like it happens right after 4 finishes. Whereas I don't know where in the timeline 5 fits, but it definitely left me very excited for Gears 5.
So are all these books technically canon then?
They are, yeah. So
to clarify.
Sorry. Yeah, it's canon. So it's Gears 1. Well, they're all canon. Ascendance I like because it takes place right after 4, whereas the books that Karen Travis wrote, which were the ones during the original trilogy, she does like a lot of flip-flopping. She goes back and forth a lot, like without getting into it too much. Like Asphalt Fields takes place both before Gears 1, explaining the story of Dom and Carlos Santiago, the Santiago brothers, and the story of the Pendulum Wars and the battle that they fought to get their hands on the Hammer of Dawn technology, which ultimately won the COG, the Coalition of Ordered Governments, won them the Pendulum War. And then it goes into what happened right after Gears 1, and it flip-flops. It flip-flops back and forth, flip-flop back and forth. Usually I'm not a fan of that type of writing style when you flip-flop back and forth between time periods, but to Karen Travis's credit, she did a pretty solid job where it wasn't like you'll have chapters where it'll be like chapter 1 past, chapter 2 present, and back and forth. No, there were a couple times where she actually stayed and marinated with a couple of the characters throughout certain chapters to really drive home a certain point and a narrative rhythm, if it were.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it.
It's funny that you mentioned about the how the book sort of feels like it's a sequel to 4 as opposed to being a prequel to 5, because that's what it felt to me. And this is just nothing related to Gears, because I'm not a Gears aficionado like you are, Gustavo.
A Gears head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like what you call it, Rogue One, which is like a prequel to Episode 4, as opposed to being a sequel to Episode 3. You know?
Yeah.
It because when you're looking at Rogue One, you're looking at it going, yeah, this. I'm not getting any advice from what happened in Star Wars Episode 3. Like Clone Wars is literally that is sequel for Episode 3, which is Clone Wars and all that crud. So Rogue One fills in the gaps of what happened towards Episode 4, which is what happens here in the book with Gears 4 and Gears 5. Let me ask you this. As somebody who would like to get into playing Gears again, since the collection editions of the games are coming out for Xbox One or maybe already came out, should I play Gears 1, or do you think I can skip that one? Or do you think?
I'm really happy that you asked me that, because I literally finished Gears 1 like a couple hours ago, and I actually just started Gears 2 again, literally today. Man, it's so hard. Yeah, I want to get everything in before September 6th. Man, that's a tough one, because just for the listener, I finished Asphalt Field this morning, and as soon as I finished it, I jumped into like Act 3 of Gears 1, and I just played it until I finished it maybe 2 hours ago. I would say play it. I would say if you're gonna play Gears 2, 3, 4, and 5 to get to 5, if that's your goal, I would say you have to play Gears 1, because that's where it starts. But it feels so dated. Even though I played the Ultimate Edition, which was the remaster, the gunplay is fun, but some of the level design feels dated. You can tell that sometimes you're walking around circles. The loading, what they do to mask loading of assets, it's so 2006. You'll be walking, and all of a sudden, and I could see why they did it, because they'll use it to infuse a couple of narrative tidbits. But you'll be walking, and all of a sudden, it's just your characters just slow down, and you'll see Marcus, who's your player character, just get on his comm and start talking to Anya about something that they're doing or whatever. And the only reason that they're being slowed down is to fucking load some assets in the background, which you can't see. But it happens so often. And so with Gears 2 and 3 and definitely 4, Gears 2 not so much actually. It really is like a corridor, and you're going on a corridor, you make a right, make a left, you shoot grubs, a set piece, you keep going, you make another right, you make another left, you shoot grubs, another set piece. That's the formula, and that's definitely the formula for 1 and the 45 minutes that I played of 2. And that, if you're not a big fan of Gears like me, that may start to grind on you. But the shooting, which is the core gameplay loop, the stop and pop, take cover, that feels fun throughout all of the games, and it progressively feels better with the sequels. For example, before Gears 4, Judgment, independent of the control scheme, was my favorite one for the gunplay feel, because it was the last one that came out before 4, so it had all the perks and all the newest technologies, again, before 4, that the other ones didn't have. My personal favorite is Gears 3. So right now the goal is to finish Gears 2 and then read the 3 books. I'm pretty sure if I can read a book a week, I'll be fine. Read the 3 books that take place in between 2 and 3, and then play 3. I've already played 4, so I won't be playing 4 again, because I played 4 maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks ago. But yeah, I would. Man, it's hard to recommend. It's hard for me to recommend you to play 1, because I'm afraid that, just real quick side tangent, I'm afraid that what happened with Uncharted with Justin will happen to you, where I'm like, Justin, I bought you the Uncharted games, play them. He's like, all right. He's like, where should I start? I'm like, start with 1. And he started with 1, and he fucking hated it. And he never
Really?
got.
He
He
hated 1.
He hated it. He hated the spongy enemies. He hated how horrible the shooting system was. He was like, I'm not playing 1, 2, or 3. I'm like, shit.
Oh man, that's a real shame because, for example, Uncharted 1 for me, like, that's the one where I enjoyed the most because it was a clean slate for a video game after not having a Lara Croft type game for a really long time, you know. So I really enjoy that aspect, like it wasn't. I didn't care much about the spongy enemies. I just liked how the story was, so I could deal with the issues that the game had. But I feel like some of these games, there's something about them that you get to enjoy when they first come out. I feel like a video game that you go back and play after, being a video gamer for, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years, and looking at it from a more critical eyepiece, a more critical point of view, kind of ruins it for you. Like you said, if you would have played Gears when it first came out, you're not thinking, oh, that's a set piece. It's just loading the assets because of the loading situations. No, you're looking, oh, I want to know more about what Marcus or Cole was talking. So you kind of enjoy it more when it first comes out. But I'll give it a shot. I mean, I don't want to buy an Xbox One just to play Gears.
Yeah, okay. So let me be straight up. Sorry, Microsoft. Don't buy an Xbox One just to play Gears. But if you already have an Xbox One, if you can somehow get somebody to loan you an Xbox One for a weekend or a week or 2 weeks or 2, definitely play them. If you're gonna do that, I'm your guy. I will help you. I will help you play through them, and we won't be skipping any cutscenes like Dying Light.
Oh Lord, man! You know what I really want to do? If I do get an Xbox One, because I mean, think about it. Like, I could maybe rent one, I guess. I really want to do this to you just for being a dickhead for Dying Light. I would love to play Gears of War 5 with you and skip all the cutscenes. And make you have to go.
That is
make
a
you go back.
dream.
Make you go back and do it all over again. Like, nope, skipping this. Nope, skipping that. Damn it, Martin!
Actually, before we move on from the topic, Dan, you own an Xbox. Are you going to be getting Gears 5?
Probably not, because like I said, I haven't invested enough time into the Gears games. I mainly played Horde in college with my roommates and stuff. I never really played through the actual story mode. And
do you have?
I was never a Gears guy. I was always a Halo Online guy.
Do you have Game Pass?
I do, and I know they're all on there. I should play them.
No, I'm not. I wasn't gonna try to sell you on the prior ones, but if you have Game Pass, by the time that the 5 comes out, yeah, might as well give it a shot. Unless like, I'm like that too. Unless you're one of those guys where you're like, oh no, I can't play 5 because I haven't played, 2, 3, and 4 or whatever.
Yeah. So I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
What I've gathered from this is that it's basically the Halo series. You can go back and play 1, and as much as it's still fun, it feels dated even when you play remastered. And then Halo 3 is the best one, just like Gears 3.
Oh,
so
I'll fix
the franchise.
Don't worry about it, Dan. I'll fix your mistake in post. I know you wanted to say Halo Reach is the best one. I'll fix it in post.
I stand by Halo 3, and I stand by Call of Duty Ghosts.
Ghosts?
I love Ghosts.
You know what? Actually,
because I'm a console player.
I won't say anything, only because you've got me there. I've never played Ghost, so I can't speak ill of it. Or
I get why PC people hated it, but I loved it on console. I love destructible maps and changing maps on console for a Call of Duty game.
It's funny you mentioned about Game Pass because now I realize, because I do have a good PC now, I could get Xbox Game Pass for the PC and try to play Gears of War 4 maybe.
Yes, why don't you do that, dude? And I think we can play them together. I'm almost positive we can play Gears 4 together.
One of us.
I mean, I could. I'll probably have to go to YouTube and look up the storyline for Gears of War for 2 or 3. But here's the thing for me: because I played Gears 1 when it first came out for the Xbox 360. I tried to play it. I think I got to maybe the third or fourth mission. But again, it was a different time for me. The mechanics of how the gameplay of Gears goes. I'm not Justin, okay? I don't like cover, okay? I like going up.
It's a cover shooter, dude. It's a cover-based shooter.
I'm not like Justin.
Especially at the higher difficulties, dude. You gotta take.
I know you have to basically shoot cover, shoot from from where you are. Hopefully, it lands and everything like that. That mechanic in Uncharted was the one that I hated the most. I don't understand how Justin did not enjoy that, given the fact that it is something that he enjoys, cover shooting. But I don't know what to tell you, man. So I'll check into Game Pass, see if I can get maybe Gears 4. Maybe they have Gears 3. I'll play that. But moving on from Gears.
Yeah, moving on.
I have a question before we switch to a new topic. Don't you have to give a reason? Favorite special edition console ever? Mine is the R2-D2 Xbox 360, and I never even owned one.
You talking about the faceplates or the actual console?
No, the actual one. He's talking about the actual one.
It's like the startup sounds that were R2-D2 sounds and a C3PO controller.
I remember there was an Xbox console. I remember there was an Xbox console that I don't remember what it was. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was the Xbox 360 or maybe it was the Xbox 360 Lite.
The Homer one where you turn it on and be like, dope.
No, it was one where the collector's editions, the faceplate was carved into it. Like they actually made like the console look like something was popping out of it. Maybe like a demon or something. I don't remember if it was like a Gears game or maybe it was a faceplate that they had like a limited edition faceplate for the Xbox 360. But I don't remember. It was this weird looking zombie console and maybe it was Dead Rising, I think. But that one I really. So
Marlon's favorite console is the console that he can't remember.
I can't remember. It's been bugging me for the past couple of weeks because when we're talking about Xbox Gears, the Xbox 360's consoles, the Gears versions of them, I just remember, and there goes that. But honestly, like my best console, the one that I really love, and this is just in general. This is not specifically for Xbox, but this is in general. The Monster Hunter World PS4 limited edition. That one was cool as heck. And if we're talking about really limited, that will be the Korean Mother of Pearl Xbox One X, and that was beautiful because that one knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it was a great looking console. So me being a basic ass bitch,
I like day one launch edition.
No, there's this one that I think it came out in Asia. So when I was a little kid, I love PS2, man. PS2 was one of my favorite consoles, and I'm talking about the fat one, by the way. There was a limited edition. I'm looking at it right now. I actually had to look it up because I don't know what it was called. A limited edition PlayStation 2 in an astral blue color.
I remember that.
And I remember, I think I saw that online when I was a kid or something. I think it was at the library too. I'm pretty sure I was at the library with my friends. And I remember I saw that and I was like, I was smitten. I was like, I want that console. I never got it because I think it came out in China or Asia, someplace that wasn't the States. But yeah, if just Nerf gun to my head and I had to choose, hey, favorite limited edition console. And to be honest, I don't know whether it's limited edition. I think it is because it says so when I looked it up just now. But man, I remember as a kid just being awestruck. I was like, whoa! And the funny thing, like blue's not even my favorite color. Like I don't like blue. I'm not a blue guy. I love red. Red's my favorite color. But I remember I saw that. I was like, man, that looks so cool. I want that underneath my TV. But yeah, no, that's my personal favorite one. Spur of the moment, Nerf gun to my head. That's the one I choose.
All right, so now I figured out what it was. It was the Gears of War thematic vault case for the Xbox 360. It was this huge thing that you put on top of your Xbox, and it had the Gears logo and symbol protruding out of it. It's this red and like this cool thing that you can put into your Xbox 360. That's what I remember.
Let me see. What is this?
Xbox 360.
I did not know about this.
This was the thing that you put up on top. You would wrap your Xbox 360 around, and you would have like little protrusion coming out of it. So you had the logo of the Gears of War in one side, and you would have basically like a little cubby for your Xbox controller that you can put on the left side.
Oh, it had the Gears. Oh man, I see it right now. Oh, that looks sick.
That's the one that I want. It wasn't a console. It was a case that you bought for your console.
And it lights up, dude.
Yeah, it was this kick-ass thing, and I'm like, but I'm not a Gears fan. I wasn't a Gears fan back then, and I'm going, man, but that looks so cool. Like the hell, I'm like,
Yeah,
it was like, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was saying like, man, do I really want to spend that much money on a case?
How much was it?
I think it was like $50-$60, something like that, if I remember correctly.
No, I think it looks worth it. I think it definitely looks worth it. That looks sick, man. That looks really cool. A quick shout out to my friend Justin. He has the Gears 4 2TB Xbox One S. He bought that. I'll be honest. I remember he was like, "Oh, you're not gonna get it." I'm like, "No, dude. I have a fat OG Xbox, and fucking Xbox One X is like a year away. I'm not gonna spend X amount just to buy an X." And this dude, so just quick shout out to Justin. He bought an OG Xbox, a black one. He sold it, and he bought the Halo 5 Guardians Xbox One edition. He sold it, and he bought the Xbox One S 2TB that I just mentioned for Gears 4. Mm-hmm. And then he didn't sell it. He kept it, and then he bought like a regular Xbox One X. So he's bought in total 4 Xbox Ones. Like, this is crazy.
Oh God! I mean, you got to give it to the Gears fan. You know, they love their products. You know, and the consoles that the coalition creates for them, they're really really good, man. Not gonna lie. Moving on from Xbox and Gears and stuff like that.
Moving on from Xbox and Gears, but we'll be talking about Microsoft pretty soon.
That's what I'm talking about. but keeping with the Microsoft theme is what I'm saying.
Ninja, and we're a little late to this because we've had a couple of guests on, so we haven't been able to do our news section. But this is something that I really wanted to include for this week, and I'm actually glad that I have you guys on because you guys know way more about streaming and the streaming culture and community than I do. But the biggest Twitch streamer, Ninja, is leaving Twitch to stream exclusively on Microsoft's Mixer platform. And that, I think, for right now, we won't know yet, but for right now, it's a big, big win for Microsoft.
Yeah, it's a good get.
Do you guys think that? And actually, I'll relay this one to Dan. Dan, do you think that with having Ninja on board, and hopefully and probably bringing the millions of his community over to the platform, do you think that this will help Mixer get over the top in terms of competing with Twitch, or are they going to need a number of substantial acquisitions like this one in order to even be at the table?
I feel like it's the start. It's kind of to go 90s wrestling on you. It's like the Hulk Hogan joining WCW thing. I mean, you take the megastar from one brand and you switch them over to the other, and you're getting eyes that weren't there before. I mean, there's plenty of people that didn't even know that Mixer was a thing before, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, Ninja's going over to this other platform that I didn't know about. So it's a huge get for them. Whether other people start to follow suit, I know obviously Keemstar's super against Twitch and is trying to get everybody against them. And as we speak, something along the lines of like end of Twitch or game over Twitch is trending on Twitter. I mean, if enough people start going that way, maybe we'll start seeing something. I mean, Twitch is still going to have people like the Dr. Disrespects of the world and other guys who are giant streamers who are making thousands and thousands of dollars to play video games online and have people watch them.
Makes sense, you know.
Living their best life. Yeah.
I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't say living your best life, because one thing that I know about streaming and making videos on YouTube is that it's a lot of time and effort invested in it. It's not just like, okay, I'm going to be playing this game for 2 hours. No, it's making this game for 2 hours, cutting, editing, making sure everything comes out, then putting it on YouTube for another 2-3 hours, and then getting a bite to eat, doing that again for another 3-4 hours, and then doing that on a day-to-day basis for right. 6-7 days a week.
It's the beauty of Twitch, though. You don't have to cut it and edit and put it on YouTube if you don't want. You can just stream on Twitch. Things have evolved. It's no longer the 12 hours of trying to get it nuclear so that you can post it on YouTube.
No, I hear you, but I still think all right, I don't want to. And I don't want to do this, but you guys basically sort of put me in a corner. Like, I think there's still something.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
I think there's still something to be said for that, like that heavily produced, online video, which is something that I like to see. I watch a lot of podcasts on YouTube, and for example, No Clip is not a streamer, right? Danny O'Dwyer is not a streamer. He does something completely different. But I think there's a place, and I think there's a market and a thirst for that type of video. And if a streamer like a Ninja or even like a Dr. Disrespect could do something like that, but I think it goes. But then again, you could argue back that and say, well, that goes against who they are. They're not these heavily produced, antiseptic people. Ninja certainly is, I think, in terms of being like a good guy image. But I think their appeal is just the fact that some of them are brash and it's not edited. It's all live. I'm not a big fan of streamers. I don't have anything against them. I think they're great. I think they're awesome for the gaming industry. I think they're awesome for the gaming community. I think that they're doing now what folks for me when I was younger, like the Colin Moriartys, the Jeff Gertzman. I think they are disseminating gaming information and putting games out. They have such a big platform that even folks like PewDiePie, they can bring attention to a game that $100 million marketing budget could never have done, right? Because they just have these amazing and huge platforms with millions of subscribers. So I see this deal that Ninja signs with Microsoft, and I don't know how long the deal is. It could be a year, it could be 2 years, but the fact that he's foregoing the money that he's getting through Twitch to sign with Microsoft tells me that one, they're paying him a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
And two, one of the things that Marlon said in terms of Twitch streamers, I don't think a lot of them are happy, because I certainly wouldn't playing one or 2 or 3 games every single day for hours on end, and it's usually it's like a rotation. It's either Apex or Fortnite or PUBG, and like
which battle royale game am I gonna play today?
Exactly. And if you're into those type of games, that's great. But I know that there has to be some fatigue. I don't care what anybody says. There has to be some fatigue. So I look at this as a very, very strategic move on Microsoft's part. These past 18, 24 months, they've bought so many studios. They're going to have first-party content coming down the pike, and they need a brand ambassador. They need someone... A spokesperson. They need someone who can organically, and I say that with air quotes, organically push all that stuff to the masses. Halo Infinite comes out, boom. I promise you that Ninja is going to be mixering or streaming Halo Infinite on Mixer. Ninja Theory's new game comes out, Bleeding Edge, I think it's called. Marlon, correct me on that. It's like a PvP game, right? He's going to be playing that, and I think that's awesome, because these are games that, even with Microsoft's marketing muscle, I think with a guy like Ninja, who's very well liked. Thankfully, he hasn't had many controversies, right? He's, as much as I love Dr. Disrespect, he's not a Dr. Disrespect, right? Dr. Disrespect appeals to a certain demographic, which I'm certainly part of. But Ninja appeals to everybody, right? Ninja is like the nice guy, right? I think it's an awesome get. I can't wait to see how Microsoft deploys Ninja when their first party output starts to kick to kick up starting next year or next generation. In fact, I'd like to know whether he plays Gears 5. I'm really interested. Is he not to go back to Gears 5, but Gears 5 is Microsoft's big first party tentpole game. Is he going to play this when it comes out? Is he going to be streaming it? And also, what does that say to his fan base? Will they like it? Will they feel like he's a sellout? I personally don't think he's a sellout. I'm happy for him. Get paid, right? Secure your future. Get your money, dude. I'm not going to call you a sellout for that.
Bread it up, chicken titties. Yeah. What Marlon said.
The thing for me. Here's the thing for me. Some people are speculating how much money Microsoft pay him, because they're just going by the numbers that he put out the last year. In 2018, Ninja made about between $8 to $10 million for that fiscal year. And how long is the contract with Microsoft? I don't know. I'm guessing probably about 4 to 5 years. I don't expect them to have Ninja under contract for more than that. That's the new consoles coming out. They're going to have him as being the spokesperson for not only Mixer, but also for Microsoft consoles for the Xbox Scarlet and stuff like that. I'm guessing when the new system for Mixer comes out with the Xbox Scarlet, you're going to be showing a lot of Ninja, in promotional ads and stuff like that to promote that. I don't think he's a sellout. I feel like if you are getting paid to do what you love and a big company is willing to give you that kind of money, go for it. If you're getting mad because he's getting $12 million a year, you're mad because he's getting money and you're not. You're not mad because he's playing on Twitter, on Twitch, or playing on Mixer. You're mad because you feel like he doesn't deserve that. Well, that's subjective. That's your point of view. That's his point of view. My point of view. At the end of the day, if he's gaming and what he does, makes people happy. At the end of the day, why complain about it? A lot of people are complaining because he's a sellout, because he's leaving Twitch. The way I see it is this, though. If Ninja is leaving Twitch, that means you can have now people to fill in the gap for that. You're going to have a lot of more streamers to be able to compete with one another, to be able to cater to that spot that Ninja left. Which means, hey, I don't have to deal with the big dog right now. Now I can actually grow my channel and I don't have to worry about, that kind of, issues. But I don't know. I feel like
it's also part of what Twitch's scandal is right now, is their new recommended for you, where if you're offline, they automatically will redirect you to somebody's channel, and Ninja's channel took you to porn.
Think of the children, Dan. Think of the children.
I am. Twitch is not.
They're teaching them that are productive, that we as humans can do on a steroid. I can't even say it.
It was gay porn. It was gay porn.
And it was probably totally intentional by Twitch. They did a fake apology, but what they really did were trying to blackball Ninja. They're like, oh, he's not wholesome. Look, his channel, your kid signed on to his channel, and there was porn on it.
There were certainly some blackballs.
Now kids aren't going to be able to watch Ninja because Twitch put porn on his channel.
Yeah, that feels like a dirty move. To the listeners out there, I don't know whether they were blackballs. I don't know whether it was gay porn. I have no idea. But that feels like a scummy move. You lose your biggest star, and then that happens. It just feels very, very Epstein-like. I don't like it.
Hopefully they don't commit suicide in a cell with 24/7.
Very political.
Very political. I don't know, man. I feel like people are just making a big deal out of nothing. If you're getting bothered by what somebody's making, I'm sorry, you got too much time on your hand, brother. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I can't speak to the controversy. I know that there was a controversy online, but again, when isn't there a controversy online? I didn't pay much attention to it. To be frank, I didn't look into it. I didn't care.
Exactly.
I just wanted to talk about just the implications of this move for Microsoft mainly as a platform and for Mixer. Twitch is like the Google of streaming. They've got a chokehold on the market. I don't see, and I asked Dan this, and he said, "Hey, it's a start," and he likened it to when Ted oh my
Ted
God,
Turner.
Ted Turner, I was gonna say Ted Warner, when Ted Turner plucked Hulk Hogan, and then that sort of opened the floodgates, right? Vince, it's not about whether Amazon can pay Twitch or not. It's not that can pay Ninja or not. It's not that. It's just Vince couldn't pay back then, but it's just a start, and hopefully this means more. I hate using this word, but more acquisitions from Microsoft. Maybe, and if you look at Microsoft as a history, as a company, and you look at their history, they usually do that. They're not very good, and I shouldn't say that, but they're not good at creating. They're very good at buying and then sustaining what they've bought, right? I'm thinking of stuff that they've bought before.
Well,
They bought.
at the
They
end of the
bought.
day, competition's good though.
No, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I watch Mixture because Microsoft has like a Xbox inside Xbox type deal every month, so I watch it through Mixer. When I watch E3, I watch Microsoft's press conference through Mixer, so I am familiar with the platform, although I don't stream on it. And it's a very good service. Lag is minimal. Sometimes you can get a 4K stream, sometimes you can get a 1080 stream. Streams are pretty good. Um, I noticed that there's at the beginning, one of like the hallmarks of the platform was, hey, there's less lag in terms of the user interfacing with the streamer. That was like a big problem for Twitch and YouTube that they've solved since, but I think Mixer was the first one at the forefront where they solved that. Where like, hey, it's almost instantaneous. You say something and the streamer will see it. There won't be 3 or 4 or 5 minutes of lag in between when somebody inputs a comment and the streamer sees it. We'll see. I don't know what the end goal is. I just suspect that Microsoft is using this as a tool to promote whatever first party tentpole games they've got coming out in the next 12 to 18 months.
And here's the thing for me, like when I saw my initial reaction for seeing Ninja being acquired by Microsoft was like, okay, don't really care much about it. Then I started thinking about it, and now that I'm here on the podcast, I just got something that just came to my mind right now. I'm like, what is Sony going to do about this? Are they going to try to acquire some big streamer to just have their own PlayStation brand games stream on their Twitch channel? Are they going to try to compete with Microsoft in that end as well? Because remember, PlayStation does not have a streaming services like Microsoft has. They have I guess you could say, a partnership with Twitch.
They have life insurance. They sell life insurance.
Yeah. Old man Sony always late to the party.
I know. So the way I see it is are they going to try to come up with some streaming services of their own? Are they going to try to get a streamer to get a special contract with them to play their new PS5 games? If they see that.
I'll ask because you guys know about streamers more than I do. I just know the big names like Ninja and Dr. Disrespected. And actually, it's not true to say that I know. It's untruthful for me to say that I know the big names because I don't know. Like I heard of some guy called Jacksepticeye. I'm like,
Jacksepticeye. You got
who the
Jacksepticeye,
fuck
PewDiePie.
is that? But are there any streamers, whether on Twitch, YouTube, or Mixer, that are as big as Ninja or have the same fame that maybe?
Well,
it depends on what you mean by fame.
Also, is YouTube streaming still a thing? Do people still do that?
I don't know. Did it die? I think they shut it down. No, YouTube.
Because the people that I think of are mainly YouTube people still, like the Sidemen from Europe. Like I watch a lot of Vicstar still. and they're still huge. Asian Canadian was huge for the longest time. And now all these guys are going to address like your burnout thing that you talked about earlier with having to play the same games. All these people have gone back to Minecraft.
I know, right?
Well, that's because of PewDiePie.
Minecraft because they can just do whatever they want and have fun.
But I read that PewDiePie was the one who recently started that trend.
You know why?
Yeah, and he's not even doing the How to Minecraft season with them, and everybody else is in on it.
Do you know why? Do you know why everybody, at least in my point of view, why everybody went to play Minecraft? Number one,
because there's money to be made.
There's money to be made for a very specific reason. It is a kid-friendly game. The way that YouTube is doing the rules nowadays when it comes to monetization, they don't like very, cursing, or you don't want, very, I guess you could say, politically, heavy videos.
Because a lot of those guys have multiple channels. Like Vic has multiple channels. Wolfles is another one. Wolfles plays Rocket League and stuff on his other channel, and we'll
Captain
let the
Sparks
F-bomb
for crying out loud. And you have those videos that are just basically getting hammered by ads because, I mean, think about it. Even, Uber Haxer Nova, who mainly was doing a lot of streaming and stuff like that, they went back and playing this kid-friendly games because they realized, hey, this is the only way that we can make money nowadays because YouTube is really heavily policing what we can put up into the platform. And Twitch, it's an easy way to get money, and you don't have to worry about, a lot of litigation and stuff like that. Obviously, not like, YouTube is doing.
Mario Maker's really big again on YouTube.
I know.
Now that the new game's out, like Ryu and Jacksepticeye.
Yeah. But the thing,
no money for
answer your question. To answer your question, Gustavo, the reason why Ninja is so famous is because he became like the first big star for Twitch. That's what made him famous. He was basically the PewDiePie of YouTube.
But I think one of the things that he has going for him
is that he's so good when playing this game, though.
Independent of that, because Dr. Disrespect is really good too. But I think one of the things that he has going for him is that, that good boy image.
Yes.
Right. He hasn't had a PewDiePie drop an N-bomb moment. He hasn't had the controversies that have dragged down PewDiePie. He hasn't had that happen to him, right? He looks, he's this wholesome guy with his nice green fucking hair, right? and people like him. He's clean. I hate using the word, but I like using the word. He's
crossover. He's
he's mainstream. He all that stuff. Like I love Dr. Disrespect. That macho, the character. I think it's so funny. He drools, all the dumb shit that he does, right? The Ethiopian caterpillar up in his upper lip, right? The two-time. I love his antics. But that's for like a certain demographic, right? Yeah. It's not welcoming to everybody, or rather, I shouldn't say that. Rather, everybody is not welcome to that type of content, right? They may or may not like it. It may not be to their taste. Whereas I think Ninja is just like he's to everybody's taste, which is why I sort of, I don't want to say I don't like Ninja, but is why he doesn't really call to me, because I'm like, you're like a jack of all trades, dude. Like you're just you're like
he's a pretty boy.
Yeah.
Basically, if you were gonna compare, you could say like this: Ninja is the Gabriel Iglesias of comedians, while Dr. Disrespect is Paul Mooney.
Yes,
they're both funny.
I like that.
They're both funny. But one is more clean and more family friendly. The other one is like he just talks shit. He'll tell you
how it is. He'll tell you. That's
you may not like it. I like that. He'll tell you what it is.
I love Paul Mooney, by the way. Fluffy can suck it.
And that's the way it is. I mean, I like Gabriel Iglesias, but if I want to listen to a comedian, Martin, and talk about the bullshit that happens to them, because for me, when I hear the bullshit, like, look, if you're really trying to get a really good Mexican comedian, get fucking Francisco Escamillo.
What about the Chilean guy, Pablo Francisco? I fucking love that dude.
Pablo Francisco and Franco Escamillo, like those guys. If you're looking for like Hispanic comedy, like talk shit like fucking Paul Mooney, those guys are good. If you're looking for a family friendly, hey, fluffy, like no, Gabriel Iglesias. But for me, it's like that. You have this clean guy who has a clean image, that doesn't get into trouble, always tries to be nice, with Ninja. And then you have Dr. Disrespect, who likes getting into fucking bathrooms and, streaming that. That's like, oh, yeah, like, that's not going to put you into fucking trouble, right? Like, yeah, let's do that. Like, shit. It is what it is, like, it's at the end of the day, it is two guys trying to make a living out of life, I'm not going to.
Yeah, I won't knock either one. Like, I'm happy for both. Like, make your money, man. You're doing what I wouldn't say what I would love to do, because I don't think, I love talking about games and I love doing the show every week, but I don't think I'd want to play the same game 10 hours a day every day just to make a living. I think I'd go fucking crazy. That's just me personally, though.
Like, if Microsoft came into me
talking to yourself on a stream,
Lord, God. Okay. Hypothetical for both of you guys. Little question. Microsoft comes in, Sony comes in, gives you, there's $100 million here on the cable. You can only stream My Little Pony. Do you take it or leave it?
$100 million? Absolutely, I'll take it.
You want a fucking unicorn on your fucking head with that thing too?
Dude, absolutely, I'll fucking take it.
Yeah, what about you?
I'll put on the costume.
Most rich people are crazy anyway. They just call you eccentric because you're rich.
Thank you. I love that. He's absolutely right. They call it. They use a fancy word, eccentric.
Yeah.
Yep, but
he just ended his establishment here in life.
But unless anybody else has to say on this topic, which I kind of felt went a little longer than I wanted to, but I'm actually glad that it did, because it's something I really wanted to talk about.
Doesn't everything on this show?
Yeah, that's true.
We talked about Gears for like 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Actually, that's probably right up your alley, so.
I totally nerded out on Gears. I could have nerded out. But unless anybody has anything else to say, we're going to move on to our third news topic, which is the big three console platform holders, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo.
I thought you were going to say.
Sorry, Sega Master Tim.
Yeah. Shout out for the second time.
EA, the Entertainment Software Association, says that the three platform holders are working on new policies that will require loot box odds to be disclosed on their systems. I'm going to read a quick quote from the Software Association Chief Counsel of Tech Policy, Michael Warneck. That said, we are doing more. I'm pleased to announce this morning that Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony have indicated to ESA a commitment to new platform policies with respect to the use of paid loot boxes in games that are developed for their platform. Specifically, this would apply to new games and game updates that add loot box features, and it would require the disclosure of the relative rarity or probabilities of obtaining randomized virtual items in games that are available on their platforms. End quote. And then quote again. As well, many of the leading video game publishers of the Entertainment Software Association have decided that they are going to implement a similar approach at the publisher level to promote consumers this information and give them enhanced information to make purchase decisions. And end quote again. Now, when this happened, first thing that I thought about was, great, this is perfect. This is exactly what needed to happen. The industry needed to self-regulate. They saw the specter of big, bad, overwhelming, oppressive government, right? Fucking just putting their grubby mitts where it never belongs and trying to regulate shit. And they said, whoa. This is getting traction. Not only are Republicans talking about this, but Democrats are talking about this. This seems to be a bipartisan issue. Not only are we getting fucking reamed in the States, but EA has got reamed in Belgium. They're getting fucked in Europe. They're like, whoa. We need to self-regulate. And I was so happy that they did that. They needed to do that, right? Independent of gambling addictions and all that stuff, which we know is true, right? I'm not arguing against that. This is something that the industry needed to do. And this is great. I'm so happy that there was no need for government intervention. the market forces work. There was just a slight touch by the government where they just looked at them funny and gave them like a glare, and the market reacted the way it should. It said, okay, we're just going to have to fix this shit ourselves. What do you guys think?
I am unfortunately going to be a little bit of a downer on this one. I don't think this is going to be the last we're going to be hearing of this. I feel like something else is going to happen that's going to bring the government here because they love putting their freaking dirty hands on everything that they touch, and they fucked it up big time. I feel like the market did a good thing about, getting in traction, like you said, like, you know what, maybe we can do something before these guys, get out of cases. But I feel like EA, it's like, how can I say this? You ever hear those retarded kids in your old neighborhood where they would poke the big bag dog from the neighborhood too many times?
You don't use the word retarded, Marlon, okay? That's very triggering, okay?
I'm sorry. If you're poking a bear and expect the bear to just lick your freaking hand, don't expect me to call you smart about it, okay? So I feel like that's gonna happen. I feel like EA is gonna keep trying to push this narrative of loot boxes not being gambling and just keep shooting themselves in the foot, because it's a lot of revenue for them. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry where they can just make money out of very little cost.
I think this needed to happen, though.
Right.
Think of EA.
To happen.
Think of EA and think of all the money. I mean, you yourself went into detail. I'm sorry, I don't know whether it was on this show or on Freelancer Radio, but you went into detail in terms of how much money they make per quarter, in terms of the millions of dollars that they make via loot boxes. And I think that
$500 million in a fucking. Can't even get started on that, man.
EA in particular, they must have stared down that barrel and they said, we're gonna shoot our fucking selves in the foot if we let anybody regulate what we can sell. Now, personally, if it was up to me, I would get rid of loot boxes entirely. But I'm against the notion that the government can come in and tell companies what to do, right? So on principle, although I'd want to get rid of loot box, I would want to get rid of loot boxes. I would not want it to be done that way, right? And they're not going to get rid of them, right? So no one's loot boxes. Just to be clear to the listeners, loot boxes are not going away. If anything, they're gonna be even more prevalent under the guise of, hey, you know what you're getting yourselves into because we're disclosing the odds. Which is a great thing. Again, not to go back to Gears 5, but some games are sort of changing that. I know that Psyonix with with Rocket League. Yeah, Psyonix with Rocket League is doing away with loot boxes, and they're just going to sell those items outright, I believe. Dan, I know you're a big Rocket League guy.
Yeah, that sounds like the way they're going.
And the Coalition is going to do the same thing with Gears 5, where they're going to just allow you to buy things outright, which I appreciate.
Here, let me give you something. And sorry to cut you out, Dan. I did not mean to do that. I'm sorry.
Yes, you did.
Do it.
Yes, you did.
Do it.
Here's just a little tidbit of what games as a service the model has done for EA and for Activision Blizzard. In 2012, EA was worth $4 billion. This is as of 2018. They are worth $33 billion. Activision Blizzard grew from $10 billion in 2012 to $60 billion in 2018. This is money that they're making on the dimes. They're making not dollars on the dime. They're making thousands of dollars on the dime. We're talking about making $500 million on just the third quarter of 2018 alone. Just on loot boxes, on Apex Legends, on freaking Fortnite and all this stuff. And all this games that just caters to, we have some cool stuff, but you have to pay for it. You can buy it. It's here for you. So go ahead and get them. It reminds me of the whole pachinko issue with Japan. I don't know if you guys heard what happened. Gambling in Japan is illegal. Okay? So what did they do to circumvent that? They said, okay, well, we created pachinko machines where you can spend your money to play it, and it gives you, credits, so you can then go to a little store next to the pachinko machines where you can exchange your tokens for prices, and those prices then you can go to another teller to sell those prices back to the company. So basically,
you said something and you explained pachinko machines because I know you explained it, but I still didn't get it. But that's okay. But that's okay. You can just keep
slots, basically. Okay. Pachinko machines are just basically slots, but the way that they make them, it just makes it seem like it's just a video game.
Okay, you could have just said that.
But they circumvent the gambling issues with that. So I feel like that's going to happen with the loot boxes. They're going to circumvent them by saying, "Oh, well, you don't have to pay for them anymore."
A lot of the government people so far, though, have said that it's technically not gambling because they are an in-game thing and they are not within the game redeemable for cash. So technically, you could go on eBay and sell these things. Like Rocket League, there was an eBay market where you would go on, you could buy something on eBay that somebody has, and then you get their gamer tag and you do a trade for that item.
That's crazy, dude. That's some black market shit.
Dude,
yeah,
look at CSO.
That's the World of Warcraft shit that went down in the 90s that originally kicked this off. Like people were trying to sell World of Warcraft items for however much money, and that is the origin of why we're talking about all this.
I hate, as much as I fucking straddle between being a fucking free market guy and thinking the free market sometimes fails, but I don't want to get into that. But I hate this notion that because it's not an actual item, like it's a virtual item, that it's not gambling, because the same chemical reactions your brain feels when you're physically gambling, a lot of people feel when they're playing these games in these loot boxes.
I
think that's such a shitty excuse because, I don't want to. It's easy to blame the people who have the gambling addiction. Oh, it's your problem. You need to fix it. But it is an addiction at the end of the day. And I think we and especially for young kids. Like I look at my nephew, I look at my niece. My nephew in particular, who is playing video games just as much as me, as much as his father and I did back when we were young, if not more. And I'm just like, man, I don't want this kid growing up and just having that dopamine kick in every couple of seconds when he gets a loot box or when he gets a drop from Destiny or whatever game he's playing, right? And I'm like, man, and I'm not a dad, but I'm like, that just makes me feel uncomfortable. Like, yeah, my brother's doing his job as a dad and, making sure that he doesn't play after a certain time or whatever, but he's still exposed to this stuff,
Here's something that's going to make you realize how bad it was for me when I was playing FIFA. Now, in 2015, FIFA had just come out with FIFA 2015. Well, technically 2014, but...
Oh, yes. I think you've spoken about this before. I think you said you spent close to $1,200 or $1,300 or something.
Yes. So here's the issue. Now, in FIFA, there was an issue where you would have these Chinese companies, mainly Chinese companies, Asian companies, where you could spend money to basically get in-game currency, basically the FIFA coins, stuff like that. And you will pay them, I don't know, rates of 50, 100, 200, $400. And they will give you the equivalent of that amount of cash for in-game currency. Okay? Now, those coins will be then transported or being, into your account, where you can then use those coins to buy packs in-game. Obviously, the Chinese companies gave you a better deal because you would spend $100 for, I don't know, 4 million coins. And to get that type of amount of cash in-game, you will be spending about $1,000. So it was a big, huge, deal for people to do this. So now you have 4 million coins in your account. And now you're trying to open packs to pack the Messis, the Cristiano Ronaldos, the big ballers in the game.
Ronaldo Machacos.
Basically. And you get this kick of dopamine whenever you open packs. And because you have so much amount of coins, you're not thinking, oh, I gotta be, I can splurge. I have to be methodical. No, you're thinking one more, and the next I'll get it. The next pack I'll get it. And you keep getting crappy players, and you keep getting really losers at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, you spend your 4 million coins, you got nothing out of it. You spend your $100, and you go back and spend more cash on that. And then you're thinking, wow, I just spent $100 for this game. What would I have gotten if I would have spent $100 in the FIFA EA currency, which would only would have given me 20 packs, as opposed to the 200 packs that I pack using the coins. So there was this incentive to keep buying these Chinese coins. And EA realized that they were losing money on this. They realized that they were just getting hammered in sales. So they made it more difficult, and each year there was more incentive to basically buy packs and stuff like that, to the point where I get it. You see people spending 10 grand trying to pack players. You see people, kids, grabbing their parents' credit cards and spending huge amounts of cash to pick these players because they see the YouTubers who are picking all these players. You see the people online saying, "Oh my God, this player is the best. You should get it," without telling you, "Hey, you're not gonna get it. The chances of you packing this player are slim to none. And if you want to get it via the store that they have, then you have to play a lot of games, 1,000 games, 2,000 games, 3,000 games, to have just enough money to be able to purchase one of these things." It's a very dopamine feel and rush like you were talking about.
In essence, it's yeah. And these we all know that these systems are designed to keep you paying. We know that
exactly.
But before we move on from this topic, I just want to ask you guys, just to close it out. Do you guys think that for the folks who constantly buy loot boxes, do you think that having this in place in terms of knowing what the odds are, do you think it'll stop them? Do you think it'll hurt the industry in any way in terms of revenue? Do you think people will think twice? For example, I for one, I don't buy loot boxes, right? I barely play games. I shouldn't say barely play games. I play many games that have loot boxes, but I don't fall for that.
You don't go for that, yeah.
I don't fall for that. So it was already a losing proposition with me because I know the odds were super low, right? But now that they're going to be divulged, do you think this is actually going to work?
Not really. You know what? Because they're probably gonna do it in a certain way that it's gonna be very difficult to actually for you to find out what the rates are. They might say that, hey, we divulged the rate, but they might put it behind so many menus and stuff like that, so it's difficult for you to actually realize how much the difference is. And even then, the person who has a gambling problem, he doesn't care if the odds are 1 to 1,000 or 1 to 10,000. Look at the people playing the lottery every freaking week,
What about you, Dan?
Yeah, I don't think it's really I think it'll stay about the same. Maybe there's a slight drop off, but Marlon made me think of something interesting because EA is part of this. People who've already agreed. I wonder if that's going to be on packs. Like, I wonder if it'll be like, Cristiano Ronaldo is a 1 in a million draw.
Yeah.
I want to see it. I want to see what happens once people like EA start. Because there's a long list of people who have already agreed to this, like Activision, Blizzard, EA. The list is right. Bungie's on it. Bethesda, Bandai Namco, Warner Brothers, Wizards of the Coast,
Konami for crying out loud.
There's quite a bit of publishers, third parties that have signed on to this. I think ultimately what will happen, and what should happen, is that I think they lower the odds, right? In order for because I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know. Maybe my feeling on it is that hopefully they lower the odds so they can entice people to buy these things more often. Because I think if they were to show the true odds, people are going to be like, wow, I'm going to have to spend like $10,000 in order to probably get it, right? So I think they may lower the odds significantly to try to entice people to buy these things even more now that this info and this data is going to be out in the open. But I'm going to close that topic because I really want to move on to our topic of the week. And I had a really shitty name for it. It was called The Life and Times of Xbox One, but that's a shitty title, so I'm not going to call it that. I'm just gonna say Reflections on Xbox One. The generation isn't over yet. right? Xbox One is a failed console insofar as market leader. We all know that. We're not going to bash it for that. But I just wanted to talk about Xbox One as a whole, and I think if Microsoft plays its cards right, next generation, it's going to be like the springboard. It's going to be like the catalyst that sets off Microsoft's amazing next gen. Hopefully, maybe, we don't know yet. But I just wanted to start off by saying what a horrible launch back in 2013, right?
Oh yeah.
Horrible launch insofar that there were rumors of DRM. They were plagued by DRM rumors. They came out $100 more than the competition. It was a weaker console in terms of specs. I mean, there was a checklist of things to not do, and Microsoft did every single one of them. And they literally shot themselves off. They literally shot themselves in the foot to start the race, and they're not going to come back from it. They're going to lose again insofar market share. But I think they needed this. I think this was a humbling experience for them, going in thinking movie, TV, sports, and not really focusing on the name of the game, which is video games. And I don't know. I want to kick it off to Dan, who's a resident Xbox guy.
Let's say before you even progress out of that, I forget about how much that was supposed to be a thing. Like, that was supposed to be your entire living room was an Xbox One. Like, they wanted you to run your cable provider through it. And I remember, like, back then, like, that E3 and stuff being like, I don't want that. I want you to put out games. And I got a PS4. So I was like, I want somebody who's caring about games right now, not who my cable provider is. And that's what swayed me originally on the PlayStation. Was like, yep, their graphics look better, their games look better, their exclusives look better. I'm like, I'm buying a PS4.
Did the DRM play any role in it? Like, for my friend Justin, that was a big, like, he was an Xbox 360 guy. He had a PS3, but he was an Xbox 360 guy last generation. And he was like, dude, I can't buy used games. Like, I have to check into the internet to play my games every day. He's like, nah, dude. And that was a big,
it's another thing I like forget that even happened, because now they're so like backwards compatible to everything. Like, every game you see at Walmart or GameStop or wherever, they'll put stickers on them now that say backwards compatible with Xbox One. Like, I've been playing Skate 3 because EA won't make another fucking Skate game. And they made it backwards compatible, and I jumped all over that shit because I was excited, and I wouldn't have had that opportunity before. So, I mean, God, there's things. This is such a long life cycle that I have forgotten so many of the launch issues for Xbox.
Yeah,
I have rose-colored glasses now that I'm just like, oh yeah, it's wonderful. Life's great. Game Pass is so good. Xbox is treating us so well. God, their launch was terrible.
The launch was terrible. The console was $499. It required Kinect. It needed a day one update, otherwise it wouldn't work. I'm thinking about. Oh, to this day, because the system was designed with always being online connected, installing games to this console is so fucking slow, dude. Whoa. To this day, it's still fucking slow. Yeah, it was a big mess, but I think Microsoft needed that kick in the shins. I always think too. So I'm gonna go in a little bit of, not a rant, but I'm gonna say quite a bit. In regards to two topics. The first one is Microsoft needed this kick in the shins. I think back to Sony with the PS2 generation, they were the biggest. They had the biggest market share. They came into to the next generation, PS3, 360, and Wii, swinging their big, massive Japanese dick, right? And they fucking fell flat. They made a console that was extremely hard to program for. They made a ridiculously expensive console, launching at $500 and $600 respectively. And although they sold more than the Xbox 360 at the end of the generation, they didn't win what many in the industry, and what I also like to say, they didn't win the mind share, right? Although they had amazing first party exclusives, a lot of games fell on the wayside. Although it was touted as the most powerful console, a lot of people didn't think of it as the most powerful console because a lot of the third party games ran like shit in relation to the Xbox 360 ports. It never figured out online the way Xbox Live did it. It didn't have the summer of arcade like Xbox Live did, right? All of the good mindshare went over to Xbox 360, and Xbox 360 won the mindshare race last generation. And then with PS4, Sony, they was like, let's go back to what we do best. That's games. Let's go back to our games. We're gonna make a $400 box, and all we're gonna talk about is video games. We're not gonna talk about Netflix, although it's gonna do that. We're not gonna talk about Blu-ray functionality, although it's gonna do that. We're not gonna talk about all the other things that our competitors talking about, which our console is also gonna do, by the way. We're just gonna focus on our games. And it was the flip side of that with Microsoft, right? They had an awesome generation. They did everything right, or almost everything right last gen. And then starting this gen, they forgot about their core audience. They were chasing those greener pastures, those filthy casuals, as I like to call them, that were never going to stick around or, be that core demographic that they needed to stand and compete on. And then the other thing that I want to talk about, and this is not a bashing of Microsoft, but in terms of the first party stuff and all the things that they've been doing now with getting studios, I've been saying that for fucking years. I've been saying it for years. I'm like, Microsoft has never had, up until now, and we'll see, they never had a deep bench of first party studios. They didn't have it. They relied on third party studios with Activision and EA, right? With a Call of Duty, the Battlefields, the FIFAs, and the exclusivity deals, the Rockstars and the $50 million they paid Rockstar and Take-Two to get a 1-year exclusive on, I think, the Ballad of Gay Tony, and then the other one, I forgot the second expansion for GTA 4, right? But all they had was and even Gears became a first party thing this generation. Gears was a first party, really was a second party thing, because although Microsoft published it, it was developed by an external studio to Microsoft, by Epic. But they just had Halo, they had Forza, they had Fable, which they fucking rammed into the ground. That was it. They didn't really have a deep bench of first party studios. They didn't cultivate what Sony did with Sucker Punch, with Naughty Dog, with Polyphony Digital, right? Sony has always had a deep bench of studios, and Microsoft now at the tail end of this generation, now they're trying to rectify that. But I'm going to shut up now, and I'm going to kick it over to Marlon, who I know wants to say a couple of things about the Xbox One.
Here's the thing. If you remember when the Xbox One was announced,
sports, TV, movie, sports, TV, sports.
Do you remember the old Halo TV series that they were planning to do with Steven Spielberg?
Oh yes, it was. Yes. I remember that.
That for me was like, wait, what? Moment.
they had a real quick, Marlon. I'm sorry. They had a Hollywood exec. I think it was a female lead, and they opened up Microsoft TV studios or movie studios to produce content. As a matter of fact, Quantum Break was the only game that I believe that came out of that partnership, where it was a video game, but it also had live action cutscenes that were about 20 to 30 minutes long.
And it's only until now, in 2019, where we actually are getting that Halo TV series. Now, what changed for me for Xbox? You said it best. It felt like Halo, Xbox, Microsoft all shot themselves in the foot at the start of a race. You said that. My analogy for that would be Microsoft tying 100-pound dumbbells on their legs, tying them up, tying their hands together behind their backs, and then trying to outrun Usain Bolt. That's how it felt like on that E3 conference. It was so badly done, so badly marketed, that Sony basically won that E3, but just having two dudes transferring one case between each other, and that's what basically won the entire
generation. It won the whole generation, dude.
By that little video, just was it Shuhei Yoshida, right?
It was Shu Yoshida, and then I think president of third-party relations at the time, Adam Boyes, who is currently the CEO of Iron Galaxy Studios over in Chicago.
So here you can share your video games this way for us, and basically won the entire generation for that. And then Microsoft realized that, like you said, they really needed this kick in the chin because they started stretching themselves too thin. You know, they were trying to do studios, they were trying to do movies, they were trying to do music, they were trying to do all of this stuff, and completely forgot that the one thing that they needed to do most was focus on the video games. You know, nowadays you look at Xbox One X, Xbox One S, and even then, like I get it. I feel like they kind of did stumble a little bit with this whole release of having like 3 different consoles. I don't know. It feels like you should do one console and one update, and that's it. That's my point of view when it comes to just mid-season updates. Is that the original one, the update, and leave it like that. This original, then the update, then the update for the update, then the update for the update for the update. It just, you know, I hate it. I don't like it, but to each their own. They have really changed their perspective on how gamers look at them. At the beginning of the season, it was Microsoft are a bunch of idiots. They don't know how to create content for gamers. Nowadays, it is, oh, wow, they actually are, you know, catering to the gamers and catering to the fandom.
Yeah, they're kind of the progressive ones now.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I just want to cut in real quick. Although I did start off by shitting on Microsoft's first-party output at the beginning of this generation, if anybody remembers, Sony was not doing very hot when it came to the first-party stuff. As a matter of fact, they were relying on the Destinies and the Call of Duties and the third-party partnerships that Xbox relied on the generation before. Although they weren't gangbusters, and for whatever reason they just didn't take.
But at least Destiny 1 was an exclusive.
No, it wasn't. Destiny 1 was not. That's
not an exclusive.
Yeah,
it was an exclusive partnership.
There you go. The marketing worked on you, and just like it worked on you, it worked on probably millions of other people, where they were like, "Whoa, Destiny 1." They see it associated with PlayStation. Oh, it's an exclusive. I got to pick up a PlayStation. But no, it totally was a third party game. It was developed by Activision. There was no way that was going to be a first party exclusive. Not with the money that Activision pumped into it. It just didn't make any financial sense. But going to my main point, Sony started off horribly with their first party games. They didn't have a proper holiday first party title until maybe I think 2016, 2017, right? But in the console launch in 2013, again, I'm not including Killzone Shadowfall, which was a launch game. But they couldn't put out Uncharted 4 on time to hit the 2015 holidays. That got pushed back to 2016. The same thing happened with The Order, which fucking flopped, although I liked it. But in contrast, if you look at the beginnings of Xbox One, they pumped out a first-party game in Rise, Son of Rome, which, again, it wasn't the best, but it was a new IP. They pumped out Sunset Overdrive with Insomniac Games, which was a new IP. They pumped out Recore. They pumped out Quantum Break, Killer Instinct. There was a good college try by Microsoft to put out new IP and first-party games. Titanfall came out in 2014. That was a big one too. That also didn't take. So there was an effort by Microsoft. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out for them. A lot of the games were either mid-tier to mediocre. Recore was another one. That was another new IP. But they did try and have, I don't want to say a better output, but more quantity in relation to PlayStation at the very beginning.
And I think about it, man. We're talking about video games that now, if we look back on them, they look dated. Like Rise, when it first came out, it looked like the best
It still looks good.
cinematic that has
It still looks good. It still looks good.
But when you compare it to, I don't know, The Last of Us, who was, a PS3 era game when it first came out, it was like, wow, that's a PS3 game looking really good. And Rise, it's a new generation, new console, and yet doesn't beat it by that much, And then you just have the whole DRM deal. Like, that was like the key. They still have not been able to shake that off, even after all these years, man. You look back and you ask Microsoft, oh man, I'm not getting a Microsoft console because of DRM. I'm like, no, they stopped doing that like years ago. Like, I know people that still to this day don't get an Xbox console because they still think that they can, buy used games, stuff like that, because of the whole DRM deal. And it's funny because Sony has done some even more shadier things in regards to that, than Microsoft ever did. And I don't know, man. I feel like Xbox should be able to rebound from this. They are in prime position to basically take the market away from Sony this generation, or this next generation. But go ahead, Cole.
Oh no, Brock Lesnar lost. I'm just excited.
Oh, you were just going the three-finger tap, huh? Okay.
I was counting down with him.
Like,
suck it, Brock Lesnar.
Is Hunter wrestling tonight?
No.
Oh.
He took the day off.
He's playing with his Mac. He's playing with his Xbox. So and
he's listening to AEG.
What's the top match on the card? What's the main event?
Seth and Brock.
What? What kind of shit is that? A part-timer again?
Yeah, classic Brock Lesnar stuff.
I don't know, man. Vince McMahon, I don't know what the fuck they're doing up in fucking WWE right now. I'm like, I swear to God, man.
This was your
think about it.
Man.
Think about
Speaking
it.
of,
no, speaking of, and kind of funny that you mentioned that. This is what I'm talking about when the executive puts too much, effort into having their own vision, and that vision sucks.
So did Seth win or did Seth lose?
Seth won.
Did he win fair and square?
Yeah.
Really?
Even with his quote-unquote broken ribs.
Yeah, really, yeah.
This is a good analogy, though, because if you're trying to push your old stars, like a Fable or a Halo.
Nice. So wait a minute.
Trying to make new.
Is there going to be a feud now between Rollins and Lesnar? Like what is the point of them wrestling? What is this going to lead? Like, what is the push? Obviously, the push isn't for Lesnar. It has to be for Rollins.
Lesnar cashed in at Extreme Rules on Rollins and won the belt, and then Rollins won it back like a month later. So it was basically an underdog story to try to get people behind Rollins again.
Oh, got it. Okay. So Rollins came in with the belt and he kept it, right?
No,
he won the belt.
It to the Money in the Bank contract with Lesnar.
Okay, so he just won the belt, right? He won the belt back now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. It's funny because look.
Sorry, listeners. It was just a quick foray into wrestling.
I'll tell you this, man. Seth Rollins does not work as a good guy. His face is too much of a douchebaggy, in my taste. He works as a heel, and they keep pushing this narrative like he's a good guy, he's a great champion. He's not fucking John Cena, okay? He's the antithesis of John Cena, okay?
Why was Goldberg wrestling Dolph Ziggler? What the fuck?
Trust me, don't get into it, man. Like I said, this is what I'm talking about. Vince McMahon does not know how to fucking run WWE right now. He has no talent.
Did he drop Dolph on his head like he dropped Taker?
No, that was basically why they brought him back. They gave him somebody like Dolph that could bump around for him and make Goldberg look good.
Oh, what kind of shit is that? How the hell did Trish lose? It's a Toronto screw job. Oh my god.
Bray Wyatt was sweet though.
This is Fable Legends all over again. Okay, this is Fable Legends all over again.
And this Kofi Kingston experiment is still ongoing, I guess. He's take the belt away from that guy. This guy is not he's a mid-carder at best. Get rid of this guy.
Told you about it.
Spoilers for SummerSlam for people who haven't watched it come Tuesday or Wednesday.
But I think by that point they'll probably be watching it. But moving away from this little
Sorry. I
track.
just
Side tangent.
Side tangent of WWE and
back to
Vince McMahon
Xbox.
sucks. Please don't hire Vince McMahon as your fucking
Yeah.
CMO.
What we've learned is Microsoft do not hire Vince McMahon because no, we do not want a new Fable.
Oh no,
Actually,
Trish got a face job. She looks horrible. Why did she do that? No.
Oh no.
Oh my God.
She was trying to look like Master. She was trying to look like Master Chief. Okay.
she looks so different.
Trust me, man. All I can tell you is this.
Tell it to
September
us.
comes, we better get to see some really good stuff from Microsoft.
So that's the thing. So just to close out, this generation is done. I think this is a springboard for them. I don't think they're leaving the gaming space anytime soon. I've been, all of us here on this show have been saying it for months. I've been banging this drum for months. They're want to just change the game up, and they're doing different things. They want to be where the gamer is. And as a fan of video games, I just can't wait when all their first party studios are fucking synced and in high gear and just churning out and pumping out amazing first party games. So I can't wait to see what's around the bend.
Sowing the seeds for next generation, so that beautiful tree blooms and then falls on Sony and ruins their farm. That's basically what's happening. Think about it. We're talking about a generation that lasted how many years now? 6?
Well, last gen kicked off in 2005 with the Xbox 360, and it didn't end until 2013. So that was 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And this generation kicked off in 2013, and we all assumed that in 2020 we're going to have new consoles. So that's 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So if Microsoft cannot beat Sony in 7 years for the next generation, I don't know what to tell you, bro. You never know. That mythical third-party console of the Xbox, Sony, and Switch all melded together like the big PC maybe come sooner than that.
One of the things that really helped Sony last generation in terms of being the market leader for all intents and purposes was the fact that they have such a strong base in markets outside of the United States.
Yeah.
Right? They do well in Japan, they do well in Latin America, they do well in Europe, right? And no offense to Microsoft, they don't do well outside of the US besides maybe the UK, right? Mm-hmm. But they don't have the stronghold and the foothold that Sony does in other markets. And that's something that they're going to have to work on. Like, I know that Phil Spencer has bought up all these studios, but one of the things that I was thinking, I'm like, where is your Japanese studio? Why didn't you buy Platinum Games? Why didn't you buy Tango Gameworks? Although I think they're owned by Bethesda. But like, why don't you? Where is your Japanese studio? I want Microsoft to have a Japanese studio, and they don't have that. I think that's something that they need to work on to cater to other markets. But with that, we're gonna wrap up this show. I want to thank both Dan and Marlon for being with me tonight. It was a great one. It was a long one, but it was a great one. Thank you guys. And unless you guys have anything else to say, that's a no.
I was expecting you to say that.
I love that he was like, nope.
Nope.
Find me on Twitter.
My last quote of this show is this. Vince McMahon, this is for you. Do me a favor. Stop making Seth Rollins into a fucking good guy. He's not. He has the most punchable face in the entire earth. We don't like him.
Vince, please retire. Have fun.
Mainly that.
Get into another car accident for crying out loud.
No.
Stay there.
I don't want you to die, Vince. I just want you to retire and have fun with your grandkids. And listen, Hunter's got 3 girls, right? You can be a nice granddaddy. Retire, Vince. And with that, We'll see you next week on the AEG show.